radar, this issue, this thing started interweaving into the fabric of our community. And luckily, we have a number of dedicated advocates, and we have leaders here in the area that kept it on their radar. Many of those that you met earlier during the proclamation, and raised some red flags, and decided that this was something that we needed to combat here in Hillsborough County, along with our partners over in Pinellas and Pasco County. What I would like to do is just again provide a brief history of where we've kind of come from and where we think we might want to go with this, especially for the benefit of those viewing at home, and I will be brief with this. As many of you will remember, and as it was stated earlier, the Commission on the Status of Women they had a forum in 2012. That was a forum on child sex trafficking, and it was basically the catalyst for the development of this entity, the Community Campaign Against Human Trafficking, Tampa Bay Task Force, which is chaired by Ms. Dottie Goober-Skipper, and which also has a number of, again, talented individuals working in various divisions within this entity. And the task force is big. As stated earlier, there are divisions of prevention, emergency victim services, awareness, legislative, housing, and fundraising. The community campaign also works in partnership with the Clearwater Tampa Bay Area Task Force for Human Trafficking. There's not a long name for these entities, and it can get confusing, but this is the entity. You met Detective James McBride earlier, and this is the entity that's very closely linked with our law enforcement partners who are also engaged in this activity. And there are a host of other groups, other entities throughout Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County, throughout our Tri-County area that are also interested in working on this issue. A report was brought to the board by the Commission on the Status of Women, and at that time, the board voted to develop a comprehensive community-wide awareness campaign on the issue of human trafficking. Some of the work evidenced by what we saw earlier, the PSA that was developed by Lori Hudson, Terry McElroy, and her crew. They did an awesome job with that PSA. At that time, after we had committed to the community-wide awareness campaign, Commissioner Merman had convened a series of meetings with county staff and with Ms. Dottie and some of her representatives to try to determine some additional efforts that the county could engage in to enhance our involvement with this issue of human trafficking. And let me also state, right now, our focus, for the most part, we're dealing with human trafficking as it relates to children and teens. This is only, the group will tell you, this is only the tip of the iceberg. This is a very complex issue. It's very broad. It becomes even broader when we start talking about human trafficking with our adult population. So we're only at the beginning of this. It's a very complex issue. But as we were trying to determine what we were going to do and what the additional county engagement was going to be, the awareness campaign, the educational and the promotional strategies were kind of already well underway. The community campaign against human trafficking, it started work with the Add To of Tampa Bay entity, and the county kind of took a different path at that point, and we decided what we would do. We would focus on trying to bring different partners together throughout the Tri-County region and focus on service provision, focus on the rescue and the restoration aspect of those victims and how those victims were impacted through, the folks that were impacted through human trafficking and those that were sexually exploited. And that's, when you look at it, that's a tack that's a little different. I think we're kind of out in the forefront of other communities as we're not only looking at the awareness and the promotional campaign, but we're looking at the back end on how we're going to fix those that are impacted by this. And I can tell you personally, I've seen a little of this, because some of our clients over at Children's Services at Lake Mag have been victim to human trafficking and some of the issues that are involved around that. So at this point in time, the goal of our county team was to develop an approach to ensure that we had some type of an all-inclusive methodology that would secure the continuity of core services amongst the Tri-County area. And at this point in time, that effort was led by Ms. Subadan, Ms. Ben Thomas, and Ms. Joanne Rollins with our Children's Services Department. Last year, another major piece that happened to this whole broad subject, this whole broad human trafficking piece, was the fact that the Junior League had identified human trafficking as one of their priorities for the 2012-2013 programming year. And with that, the community campaign against human trafficking partnered with the Junior League to create a unified marketing campaign, which is actually being launched next week. And I won't go into that further because Ms. Dottie and Ms. Mary Ellen Collins will share some of that information with you in a moment. But they got some exciting things that are coming up. And again, I think this is something that's going to put our Tri-County area in the forefront of how we're planning on combating this issue. The county team worked on to continue with this uniform comprehensive safety plan, but we kind of temporarily put it on hold as it was decided that a major strategic planning activity would be convened by Commissioner Merman to bring all of the active participants together to try to chart out a collective course on how we can best combat this human trafficking issue in our community as one solid entity. Since the inception of the community campaign against human trafficking, we have well more than 60 plus, 70 plus organizations, faith-based community governmental entities that are all trying to tackle this problem and trying to find ways of dealing with how we're going to deal with helping our children and our teens that are impacted by this entity. So what we're planning on doing, and in order to keep the momentum going after this massive campaign that you'll hear about during Human Trafficking Awareness Month in February, on February 13th to be exact, we're going to convene a collaborative lab exercise over at the Epicenter at St. Pete College. For those of you who have never had the opportunity to go through one of their exercises, it's truly amazing what they do. It's a facilitated exercise. You have real record, and you start with a plan, and you finish the day with deliverables, with actual deliverables, and with an actual work plan on how you can move forward in terms of tackling whatever issue that you're bringing to them. So what we're planning on doing, this will take place on February 13th. The capacity for this event, we're going to invite 75 of our key participants from the Tri-County area to come together. This will be designed to provide us with an opportunity to collectively identify issues, challenges, and hopefully develop next steps, which will allow us to develop a consolidated action plan as we move forward, again, to kind of chip off the tip of this iceberg of this human trafficking problem and issue. So with that, it is my pleasure. I would like to reintroduce to you Ms. Dottie Grover Skipper to